Hi grade 7 students, I hope that you are doing fine. By the way, I am teacher Janessa Sulaiman and with me are teacher Nizel, Ella, Tara and Ilya May. In this video, we will be discussing about the hydrologic cycle or also known as the water cycle. Note that at the end of this lesson, the students will be able to define and describe the processes in water cycle, trace and illustrate the water cycle, and explain the importance of water cycle.
Water. We drink it, bath in it, swim in it, play in it, but have you ever really thought about water? For example, do you have any idea how old water is? More than half of the Earth's surface is covered with water, and a lot of that water has been around pretty much as long as the Earth has. That makes water really old, and Earth has a way to recycle water. Use it, filter it, and reuse it over and over again. It's called the water cycle. Do you want to learn about it? The water cycle is a process that moves water from the earth to the sky and back again. The whole process is driven by the sun. Solar radiation is the sun heating up the atmosphere. When the sun heats up the earth, surface water in lakes, streams, and oceans begin to change form. The water transforms from a liquid to gas, from water to water vapor. It evaporates. Evaporation is the term scientists use to describe what happens when the water turns to water vapor. When water evaporates, it becomes invincible because water vapor is a gas, and there is always water vapor in the air. Evaporation happens constantly to keep the Earth's climate in check. Once in the air, water vapor moves around the Earth. Evaporation also acts as a giant water filter. When water changes from liquid to gas, it distills. It leaves chemicals, salt, pollution, and all that stuff behind. Plants also give off water. It's a process called transpiration. Plants gather water from the ground through the roots. When the sun heats up a plant, the plant releases water through its leaves as water vapor. Evaporation from the sun, when added to plant transpiration, is called evapotranspiration. So what happens to all the water vapor in the air? Well, it rises. It travels up to the sky. The air above the earth is cold. So, when the water vapor gets cold enough, it changes form again. It gets denser. It condenses to liquid. Water vapor turns into tiny water droplets. This phase of the cycle is called condensation. When water vapor rises and meets the colder air above the earth, it condenses to tiny water droplets and form clouds. Clouds are made up of millions of water droplets. In fact, the average cloud weighs 40,000 tons. Just like when you breathe out on a cold morning, you can see a small cloud in front of your face. The same concept is true on a larger scale. Water vapor meets cold air, condenses to form water droplets, and millions of water droplets join together to form a cloud. When enough water droplets join together, they start to get heavy for the cloud. They have formed water drops and the water drop starts to fall. In other words, it starts to rain. When it starts to rain, we call this phase of the cycle precipitation. Precipitation is when water begins its journey back to Earth. It may come back as rain, snow, sleet, or ice, depending on how cold it is when it starts to fall. As water travels back to Earth, it may fall into the oceans or into lakes, streams, or river. Sometimes it falls on the land. Some water that falls on land runs off into lakes, streams, and rivers, eventually finding its way back to the ocean. This water is called surface water. Other water that falls on the land soaks deep into the ground, collecting in pockets called groundwater. Then the cycle repeats again.
The water cycle is an extremely important process because it enables the availability of water for all living organisms and regulates weather patterns on our planet. If we didn't naturally recycle itself, we would run out of clean water, which is essential to life. Besides providing people, animals, and plants with water, also moves things like nutrients, pathogens, sediments in and out of aquatic resources or ecosystem. And that ends our discussion about water cycle. I hope you've learned something and thank you so much for listening. Remember that we teachers are always here to help and guide you to make your dreams come true. As what the saying says, alone we are like drop, united we are like ocean. Thank you so much and God bless us all.